as you yourselves have said, it's an intergenerational process, this resilience. Now, what Dr. Biniam might pick as a lesson for his generation might not necessarily be what Ato Gurmai, I think I really wanted to say for some reason, honorable Gurmai, or what's proper, really. I really feel bad just saying.
That's fine.
I
That's
just
fine. Germa is fine. Don't worry.
Okay, so for you, Dr. Biniam, what are those key lessons learned from this resilience by the Eritrean people and the government as well, and that has rewarded from those lessons back to the people?
Thank you, Malik. You can drop the doctor and call me Biniam as well. I prefer that way. Yeah, it's much more easier, simpler, and I like it that way.
I will stick to that. I will say that. All right.
Yes, I think most of it has been beautifully captured by Gurmai. Yeah, very concise. It just captures it more. There is one I would like to emphasize on is the idea of having to do it on your own. Yeah, there are multiple significant elements to them. Yeah, but the idea of self-reliance. Yeah. So throughout that struggle, Eritreans wanted to do it on their own precisely because they recognize if you are dependent on somebody else, then they are going to use you for their own objective, not to facilitate your objective, but to use you rather as a cog. So when you do it, there is that element. You avoid being used by somebody else. Yeah, that's one element. Second element that's very important there is you accumulate a lesson, very important lessons, the experience. Yeah, once you try to do it on your own, whether it's working on the machine in the machines, whether it's to build something, unless you touch it on your own, you experience it, then you won't be able to develop the necessary skill to be able to function properly. Even as a state, that's what's required. Yeah. So come in 1993, when the IMF and the World Bank came and said, we want to write a policy for you. The Eritrean leadership at the time said, no, we want to do it ourselves. But that was unusual for Africa. And IMF and World Bank, they told you, oh, okay, you knew, let's do it for you, because this is the norm in the continent. But the Eritrean leadership say, no, we want to do it on our own, because that's the lesson. Yeah, you experience this. Yeah, you by trying to do it yourself, you might make a mistake, but that's natural. So that element of trial and error is also part and parcel of this. Then the third element is this is very empowering, it's liberating. You're doing it on your own. So the self-empowerment element to it. So collectively, it becomes something that you would say, okay, we did it ourselves, not by depending on somebody else's support or by depending on somebody else to do this for us. We did it ourselves. That's very important. It's very liberating, very empowering. And in addition to that, something that you can develop and build upon when you do it. If you're depending on somebody else, when they are not there, then you are incapacitated. You see, that's very crucial. And it's the biggest lesson. And the fourth element is it's very difficult. It's hard, but you have to endure. Yeah. The harder it gets, the most rewarding it becomes, because it's your fruit, your labor. And of course, the fifth element is it's when it is yours, it's easy to mobilize. Yeah. If it makes it easier for you to be responsive. Now, you can take this throughout Eritrea's hardship of the last even 30 years and the struggle of 30 years for liberation, the 60 years framework. This has been weaved together. Yeah. So the last 30 years, with all the antagonism and sanction, all that. This lesson was very crucial in being able to combat this, maneuver this. This is the something that has been utilized throughout this, particularly the last 25 years when things had been very hard. The harder it is, let's do it. We could do it. It's going to be tough, but we got to do it. And the last element is no easy victory to be claimed. You have to win it. If it is bad, you must acknowledge it is bad. If it hasn't worked, you must acknowledge it hasn't worked. If it has worked, then you will say, okay, how do we build on this? That's what has been drawn into the last 32 years of Eritrean independence, and it has worked so far. And I think every Eritrean outside of the country is also, trying to emulate that. And I remember the Eritrean movement for democracy and human rights was, one of the civic movement that was established here. And then we were being accused for being trying to be self-reliant. We didn't recognize that this is what we were trying to do. We were very much worried about Western influence. We were very much worried about the TPLF's influence on us. We want to do it ourselves, and that lesson was, incorporated into even some of the opposition. I wouldn't say all of them. I don't know if they are the opposition anymore, but then those who are, criticizing the government have also embraced this element, which you could see that every Eritrean is now, it's a shared value in some sense, and I think that is the strength. Another one to add to this is the ways in which history had to be appropriated, understood, and exploited. History has its own dirt. History has full of blood and full of surprises, full of fruits and happiness, and mixed with a whole lot of gory stuff. Now, how do we bring it to the present? Unless you are very careful in bringing that history into the present, you are going to pay a heavy price. It can be divisive. It could be used to create cleavages. So how you appropriate history? So godly leaders, and I'm sure Gurmai would assist me on this one, they're very careful in bringing what kind of history that you would bring to the present and to the future. So investing on today to move forward is the most important way of engaging with the past. So the past is there only to draw a lesson, not to bring it here and carry it as a burden to go forward. That's why it is so easy for this leadership, maybe with a lot of pain, but then, okay, we had this, but then we can move forward. We can engage with Ethiopia, build regional alliances, despite, them having this and that against us. We can leave that to history, but then we can invest on today so that we have peaceful coexistence, so that we have a better future. And that kind of investment is needed. And I see, and many African states are still dwelling in history, and then trying to rip it apart, and then become very divisive. So how history is appropriated, and they have been very careful. And the Eritreans are very careful in choosing what kind of history that they bring to the present, and the investment that is needed here, so that we have a better future. And I think that's very crucial element to add here. Thank you, Mahlet.